Welcome back to I Make Beer. So this time we're not making beers. We're actually going to go over how you enter your beers in competitions. So uh, I've got two beers that I've made. The videos are already out on those two beers, and so I bottled up some and I sent them off to Hudson Valley Homebrewers competition down closer to Poughkeepsie area, New York City area. So during the video, I'll show you, how you enter on the typical Homebrewers Association websites. They're all pretty much the same, those competition websites. I think they use a generic website for each competition. And then also paying for it, shipping, and then getting the results back. So that's what we're going to do on this one. Grab yourself a beer, and let me show you how you can enter your beer into a competition. The channel's I Make Beer. My name's Steve Luther. See you at the end of it.
So here's an example of a homebrew competition. This is the Hudson Valley homebrewing competition that's taking place the end of the month here. They're judging from the end of October until the beginning of September. The actual event is September 14th. So we're about 3 weeks away. Here's my account information. Blurring all my home address. I don't need you stalking me. And then the two beers that I entered, which was my American Pale Ale and my Weissbier, which is my Hefeweizen. You can also go in and edit. Actually, it won't let me edit this now because I've already sent in my beers and paid for them, so I can't do that. But I can add an entry. So we'll go in and add an entry. Your brewer, the name that you want to use, pick your style. Sometimes these are limited to specific styles. There is one in Cincinnati, but it's a local homebrew. You can't enter it from outside the area. But that one is just Oktoberfest. And so it's very limited styles in which you can actually enter in that competition. So just make sure you check because you may have a beer you want to enter and find out that they're not accepting it. Then, you just put in your alcohol by volume, any notes that you want the judges to know, and then possible allergens. Then you can add entry, and then it'll put it in. And then you usually have to go in and once you're entered, you have to separately go in and then pay for your entry. If you haven't paid for your entry, then obviously they're not going to judge a beer. And I don't even think, and at least on this one, the shipping location, I had to actually email to get the shipping location. It was an individual's home address. Sometimes they're homebrew shops that you can send them to, or breweries, and they don't mind putting their address onto these websites for the competition. But this particular one, I don't blame the guy. He didn't want his home address on a website. So if you entered and you could prove that you had entered your beer, then he would then email you the shipping address. Then you got, here over here to the right does show, when they're judging. And again, I said the main event is on September 14th. As of today, which is August 22nd at 11:16 a.m., there were 159 entries. There's a limit of 200. These competitions do have limits. I haven't really seen any more than, say, 200, but maybe the national competitions might have more than 200 entries. But some are limited to 50, 75, 100, depends on the size of the competition. And then it says there's 150 have been paid. So 9 entries that have not paid yet. Then if you're local to the area, it'll give you the drop-off locations so you can actually drop off the beer. In my case, I'm not near this area. I'm like 3.5, 4 hours away. So mailed mine, UPS. So again, there's the shipping location, and then he actually sent an email to the individual to get a home address. And then there's a bunch of other things, Here's the rules. You may want to run through them, especially for shipping. It gives all the sponsors that are involved. This one's got quite a bit. You have to requires 2 bottles per entry, either a 12 or 22 ounce can, cap bottles, or cork bottles. Make sure you don't have any labels on them. Make sure the glass isn't etched in any way. Some of the breweries, if you're using bottles from 6-packs that you bought, sometimes those bottles have etching on them or raised. I want to say raised print, but the glass is raised with a emblem of the brewery. So make sure you don't use those. Make sure they're just flat, plain old brown bottles. Or if you're using cans, again, don't put anything on it. They just want the entry form, and that's it. We have the info. Here's all the styles that are accepted. Check some of these ones that are highlighted because there might be specific things. And I see it says here you got to provide additional information about the beverage. There's 200 entries. You can do 4 entries. I did 2. Then ways to pay. Acceptance rules tells you again bottles with cap, cans, 22, 12 ounce. Drop off locations if you're in the area of wherever this is. Brooklyn, Mamaroneck. Huh, never even heard of it. And I live in New York. Poughkeepsie, yeah, I know that. Oceanside, yeah, I know that. Gives you the shipping date, when they will accept. So today actually is the last day for this, as I'm videoing this part. Again, Lou Blum was our contact. And again, here's judging sessions, best of show, awards. Again, usually these entry websites are through the Homebrew Association. They're all very similar. I think they all just, you just put in, you just designate the top here, which is HVHB, but then usually the rest of the brewingcompetition.com is for the same for everybody. They just changed the first beginning of the website to make it their own. And volunteers, we don't care. Sponsors, we saw contact. So that's it. That's what a typical homebrew competition website looks like and how to enter your homebrew beer.
First, starting with filling our bottles, I have a bottle filler so I can purge the bottles with CO2 prior to filling them. You want to treat your beer just as you treat it as you're filling a keg with as least amount of oxygen as possible. So, using a clean, sanitized bottle, we then purge it and then slowly fill it. I turn the pressure down on my serving pressure to make sure that it fills the bottle slowly, and then give it a good tight cap. Sure to read the instructions on the website for each competition. This one specifically wanted the labels inside of a Ziploc bag and then rubber band to the outside. Some do, some don't, but this one does. They also were very specific that they wanted bubble wrap each bottle. So that was the only packing material they wanted. So make sure you just read those things before you send off your bottles or cans. I entered 2 different styles in this competition. Weissbier, which is my Hefeweizen, and then the American Pale Ale. And then again, make sure you wrap and ship these as per instructions. A lot of these competitions have different instructions, so you just want to make sure you follow the instructions. Then also, this one particularly wanted it to be put into a garbage bag. And that's if you break bottles, it's not going to leak outside the box. I ended up switching boxes out because this box I originally used was too big. And then again, I used bubble wrap to fill in any voids within that shipping box before it was sent out. And the instructions were explicit. Mark the box this side up and make sure you mark it fragile.
Ah, fragile. It must be Italian.
Well, I think that says fragile, honey.
Oh, yeah.
And then they're sent on their way. We'll see what happens.
Gonna make that dream come true, and we'll do it our way, yes, our way. Make our dreams come true.
Here's proof of delivery. The photograph of my beer on the guy's front porch. And he sent me an email.
Well, I got my score sheets back from the competition. So here we have one of the score sheets for the category 10A, German wheat, Weissbier. This was my Hefeweizen. It scored a 29 out of 50. You can see here they have categories that they go through. So start with aroma. Malt aroma was between low and medium. I think that's what they're trying to say here. Hop aroma, I'm not really sure if that was low or none. I'm not sure what they were trying to put there. Then fermentation is again on the between low and medium. And then there is a note, slight cloves, very slight banana. I got a 6 out of 12 on that one. And I actually agree with the slight clove and slight banana. So appearance, gold in color. Head was white to ivory. Clarity was brilliant. Thank you very much. Retention didn't look like they checked it. I don't know why, but and then you got other Crystal Weizen, and I got a 2 out of 3 on that. And we'll see why he says Crystal Weizen at the bottom. Flavor, malt, medium, between medium and high. And then there's a note, moderate bready. Hop flavor, none. Bitterness, none. Fermentation, not a lot of banana. I'll agree with him on that. Balance on the malty side. Finish, aftertaste on the sweet side. I got a 10 out of 20. So that was not a good category. Mouthfeel, body, he's got medium. Creaminess, medium. Carbonation, medium. Astringency, none. Warmth, medium. I got a 4 out of 5. And then overall, you can have classic example all the way down to not to style. I'll take that as a 75% of classic example. Flawless down to significant flaws. Same thing. I'd say 75%. Then the last one was wonderful to lifeless, and I'm again 75%. 7 out of 10 on that. It also says could use less body. Was this intended as a Crystal Weizen? Question mark. And I didn't put crystal malt in this, so I don't know where that came from. So 29 falls into the good category. 21 to 29 is good. I'm 1 point short of very good. So that's how this judge ranked my Weissbier. So let's move on to the next one. So the second judge for the same beer also gave it a 29. This guy looks like a national judge. So we'll go through it again. Aroma, he's got it up closer to medium. It looks like low dough or something like that. I'm not really sure. Then hops was a little bit closer to low. I think it says low floral. Fermentation a little bit higher towards medium. And then he's checked inappropriate. Clear, lacks banana, clove of style, or phenol, but not clove. I think that's what that says. So anyways, he gave me a 5 out of 12 on that. Appearance, gold. Head, he's got close to white there, which I think that's what it was. Clarity, brilliant. Retention, he's closer to quick than, I'd say, less than 50%. Other, round but still bright. Lasted head formation. Tight bubbles, lasted head formation. These guys can't write very well. Anyways, it's 1 out of 3. Next is flavor. Malt, medium, dough, fluffy. Hops, low. It says very low floral. Bitterness is low, low and clean. Fermentation is above medium. Looks like low clove, low banana, very low clove. Balance is malty. Finish, aftertaste is on the sweet side. Residual sweetness, under attenuated. I got a 13 out of 20. Got a better score on this guy than the last guy on this section. Mouthfeel, body, medium. Creaminess, medium. Carbonation, it looks like he changed his mind and went a little above medium there. Astringency, none. Warmth, medium. Other, blank, 4 out of 5. Overall, again, classic example to not in style. I'm about a 75%. Flawless to significant flaws. I'd say I'm just above 50%. Wonderful to lifeless. And again, just above 50%. I got a 6 out of 10. Then at the bottom, the feedback seems like I can't read that recipe, but didn't quite hit the fermentation profile needed for style. Lack banana clove, and subdued in flavor. So aroma and subdued in flavor. Got it. Finished. Sweet, non-attenuation, or perhaps something IBU to balance. More IBU, I think that says. Attenuation is low. Body would be better than upping bitter for style. And then he put 28 to 50 at the bottom, but at the top it said 29. So again, I'm 1 point below very good. And that's how that one turned out. So the next one, a pale ale. This one didn't do as good. 24, 18B category, American Pale Ale. Aroma, hops, and it says buttery. I got a 5 out of 12. That's it. Appearance, gold. Clarity, brilliant. Head, white. Retention, closer to the quick side than the lasting side, but I got a 3 out of 3. Flavor, malt, blank. Hops, diacetyl, astringent. Bitterness is almost medium. Fermentation is between low and medium. Balance is blank. Finish, aftertaste is just almost dry. I got a 7 out of 20 there. Mouthfeel, body, closer to thin. Carbonation is medium. Warmth is blank. Creaminess is medium. Astringency looks like it's up closer to high. I got a 4 out of 5 on that. Then overall, classic example to not in style is closer to not in style. Flawless to significant flaws, I'd say is closer to significant flaws. Wonderful to lifeless, even closer to lifeless. I got a 4 out of 10. That judge scored it a 23, which puts me in the good. So we'll go on to the next one. So again, 24. Now that's consensus score, which is, I think they just round up if they are 1 point off. So anyways, this judge said the malt was low crackery. Hops were between low and medium, low floral, and it says inappropriate. Fermentation, inappropriate. Diacetyl, 6 out of 12. Color, gold. Had white. Clarity between brilliant and hazy. And then head retention is right in the middle, it looks like. So I got a 3 out of 3 there. Flavor, closer to low. Low crackery. Hops, almost medium, low floral. Bitterness, inappropriate, and it's almost medium. Fermentation, diacetyl, bubblegum, inappropriate. Balance and finish aftertaste were blank. You got a 7 out of 20. Then mouthfeel, body, medium. Creaminess, low to medium. Carbonation, low to medium. Astringency, just over medium. Other, looks like slick. I think that's what it says, but I got a 4 out of 5. Then overall, classic example to not in style. I'm right in the middle. A little bit down on significant flaws towards there. and looks like right in the middle of wonderful and lifeless. 4 out of 10. A good beer, but there is diacetyl and a lack of hop aroma. Check your cold side sanitation and ensure you're pitching healthy yeast. So 24 out of 50. Again, that's in the good. This one was an older beer, so it was probably a good 2.5 months old when it was sent to this competition. I made this beer in June, and the judging was this in September. I'm not really sure about the diacetyl. I usually, even on ales, I'll do a diacetyl rest. And this one, it appears that I did do a diacetyl rest on this one. So that's how those came out. So that's how my 2 beers did. Not super pleased. The pale ale was getting pretty old, especially when you dry hop. You lose a lot of those aromas after time. I don't know how they were treated, during transit, and I don't know how long they sat out on the guy's front porch. I sent them in August. So it was warm when those were sent, and they weren't in ice packs or anything like that. So, the judges do what they can do. And I sent a beer, the first beer I ever sent to a competition was the Hazy IPA, and I sent it to 2 competitions. The first one I scored, I think, a 34 out of 50. The second one I scored like a 22 out of 50. Same beers. So there's differences in between, judges. It's their perception. So I'm not going to fault anybody. I got to make better beer. I'm going along with the clove and banana, but I did ferment it a little cooler than normal because I was trying to suppress them a little bit more. I didn't want them to be too abundant. That's how you do a competition. Hopefully you guys, if you haven't done one, you do a lot better than that. But I'll keep doing them. It's good feedback. If you want to become a better brewer, you need somebody to give you critical feedback.
You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
And a lot of times your friends, as long as you're giving them free beer, they are saying it's the greatest beer they've ever had. So unless you've got certain people that will tell you the truth. If you want to make either of those beers, they're right here. Otherwise, cheers. Make yourself some beer, enter a competition. They're fun. Gives you some idea of how your beers are doing. So we'll check you later. Next video will be coming out soon. Peace.